Oi!
It was like a very emotional roller coaster because I was really excited but really sad to see my family like just leave.
It took a little bit of getting used to, especially with it being during COVID. Put a bit of a strain on my social life, but ultimately it kind of allowed me to focus on sort of actually getting my independence in terms of cooking my own meals, got living off of mum and dad doing my cleaning and stuff. So kind of eased me into it a little bit.
When I first moved here from Abu Dhabi, it was a bit of a cultural shock. It was the first time being away from home for that long.
It really helped me to like be independent and also to learn to cook and also manage my emotions as well as daily tasks such as cleaning and studying by myself.
Moving into halls takes a bit of getting used to, and you really sort of might miss out on some of the home comforts of just having, I don't know, your pets around, your parents around, whoever it is that you seek comfort from. A lot of my friends, they all bought like cuddly toys and stuff from their childhood as like a little comfort thing. Yeah, just little things like that, and also just trying to remember that your friends and your family from home, they're only a phone call away, and everyone's in the same boat for the most part. Like a lot of people, it's a fresh start to them, they don't know their way around campus, they don't have that many friends yet. So yeah, just try and seek comfort in knowing you're not alone.
Be involved with societies or even in local groups, I feel like that really helped me. And also keeping in touch with your family and friends back home. I feel like after a couple of months you will get your feet in the ground and you'll be fine. And good luck.
I think it was my first kind of experience of, oh, I'm an adult now. I've got my own house with my flatmates.
I think finding private accommodation was a little bit overwhelming because I felt like it all happened really quickly. Like as soon as Fresh is over, everyone was already thinking about houses and you've only just met these people. So it was almost like a lot of pressure to pick the right people and find the right house. I just think you have to be willing to sort of compromise a little bit, but also make your boundaries clear in terms of what you're looking for.
We lived close to university and everyone around us were students, so we kind of had like a little community. I think probably the most exciting thing was not having to leave the house to do my laundry.
I think for me, being in private accommodation, I found it a bit better than halls because I was choosing who I was living with. You tend to be more on the same page about things like cleanliness. Try and get organised early if possible, but also don't worry if it feels like everyone else has found a place and you haven't, because there are still options out there. And you know, there are also options to go back into university halls if necessary. It's easier said than done, and there's so many different things to consider in terms of who you want to live with, what your budget is. That's a big thing to make it clear. Can't really be too flexible around budget. So yeah, definitely set your boundaries with the people you're planning on living with.
It was different because living in halls, you don't really have to think about commuting distance or time or public transport. But when I moved into private halls, I had to think 3 steps ahead, wake up earlier than I would, plan my journey, get the right bus, and sometimes the buses from town are full, so you might have to wait for another bus. So I feel like it's more challenging.
So I think one of the really important things to do when you move in is to get to know your neighbours. And sometimes there can be issues with noisy parties, bin issues, that kind of thing. So it's always good to get things off on the right foot and introduce yourself to your neighbours when you move in, so you've got that friendly relationship if issues do arise. There's a lot of information that's available on the Reading Borough Council website about landlord issues. You can also get in touch with your local councillor as well. Or I would also say to speak to the Student Advice Service at RUSU.
Because I'm an international student, I had to think of the guarantor. Reading Students' Union have now partnered up with the Housing Hand, which helps students with finding guarantors. And I would say knowing your rights as a renter is really important because sometimes landlords do take advantage of you. And remember to take pictures of your place when you first move in, so you can claim anything back they take from you. Yeah.
In terms of the holidays in between uni, I think I did a bit of a mix in terms of I spent some time with my university friends. There's a great opportunity where you have a lot more free time than during term time, so you can actually spend all day together with a lot less academic stress to worry about. Equally, it's the best opportunity to go home and catch up with friends and family from home and just kind of take a bit of a step back from the uni life. I think placement for me has been an extremely valuable experience. Having the academic stuff and the theory is one side of things, but you really want to be thinking about what you're doing after uni. And for me, my placement, I've managed to secure some part-time work alongside my third year. We've also explored graduate opportunities. So it's really eased that stress of my career moving forward. And yeah, would highly recommend it to everyone.
I would say enjoy your final year, even though it may be stressful, because I feel like you will regret not enjoying, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I feel like, especially being an undergraduate student, finding the right balance, but also knowing that this year counts. Yeah.
It's been exciting. I think as with any person who's applied for universities, there's so much applications that you have to go through, and it's very similar when you're applying for jobs. It's lots of applications, but eventually you do get the right role. It is rewarding.
I would say the first couple of months were a bit of a roller coaster. I was really nervous starting off and really overwhelmed with the number of things I had to learn settling in. I think the biggest challenge for me was balancing personal and professional life, you may say, because I feel like during the first couple of weeks I would work when I go back home as well, and I feel like I didn't have any time for myself and I was really drained and exhausted. So I feel like finding that balance was really hard, especially during the first couple of days. Yeah.
Look for graduate roles. You'll hear a lot about them being very competitive. To be honest, I've worked for a couple of companies now, and we're always looking for graduates. Utilize your advice in career services at university. They really do help tailoring your CV, interview questions.
So I would say that it can be really rewarding to do a voluntary role, whether that's for a charity or as a local councillor. I would make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, that you really want to give something back to the community, not just something to put in your CV. I decided to wait until I finished doing my studies before I stood for the council, because it's a lot to balance working, studying and a voluntary role like being a councillor. But it was a big commitment, but it was really rewarding to get to know members of the community and campaign on local issues that were important to the area, like issues with housing, issues with bins, and making a difference to the local area.